Good morning and welcome back. We hope you all had a great summer. We have a few educational technology and Canvas updates that we wanted to go over for the new school year. So we're going to have just a few profile updates and some things that you may not be aware of that we have started for this upcoming school year. So the first thing that we want to kick off is our Eduphoria updates. So Talisha, if you'll go ahead and get us started.
All right. Okay, now that my screen is shared, there's a couple of things that you need to do in Eduphoria every year just to make sure your profile and your settings are up to date. So you can get to, there are a couple of ways. You can click on profile at the top, or you can click on my profile at the bottom. So the main things, if you're new or you moved campuses, you want to make sure that your campus is correct. So I'm at Central Office, so that is correct for me. Scroll down. If I want to upload an image for my profile picture, I can do that. Let's see. It's basically just like you can do with every other application in uploading your image. We'll click next. And choose your role. If you're a paraprofessional, teacher, click the role that you have in our district. And then what subjects you teach. We're just going to go through and select anything that you teach and then what grade levels you are working with. And so we work with all grade levels, so have all of those selected. The security question is probably one of the most important things because this you will use at the end of the year when you're signing documents for evaluations and such. So you want to make sure you choose a question and an answer that you're going to remember. So let's see. I'm going to just choose one now. All right, so I'm going to save my changes.
And remember on those answers, those are case sensitive. So
yes,
whatever you type in, it has to be typed exactly the way you created it.
Yeah, so make sure you pick a question that you're going to remember the answer to. And if you capitalize something, remember that exactly. Keep in mind that Eduphoria has when you log into Eduphoria, you use your entire email address and your password is different than say Google and your network login. But if you get in here and you need to change your password, if you update your password and you want it to be the same as all of your others, you'll click on your My Profile, and at the very bottom, you'll see Change Password. And then it'll give you all of the requirements for that. And then once you've selected your new password and confirmed it, change password. So your profile settings in Eduphoria are very, very easy to change. And if you have any questions, let us know. That's pretty much it.
Absolutely.
All right.
Talisha said those security questions are really going to come into play towards the end of the school year when you have to electronically sign any documents in Eduphoria. We get lots of phone calls every year saying that it's not letting you sign. And Talisha and I don't have any control over your security questions or what you created as your answer choices. So make sure that you either have those where you're going to remember them or go in and reset them and try to sign the document again. And that 99% of the time, that's what the issue is those security questions.
Exactly.
Okay, so we're going to move on to ClassLink. So now let me share my ClassLink dashboard. Okay, so this is my ClassLink dashboard. And what we're going to look at today is, again, your profile in ClassLink. So once you've logged into ClassLink, you're going to get to your profile settings by going to the top right corner. You see I have my profile picture here, and there's the little drop-down arrow. If you click there, you're going to see the settings option. So we're going to click on settings. This default page is if you wanted to update your profile picture. Just make sure if you do upload a picture that it is a professional picture. Remember, these are pictures that your students and parents are going to see. So whatever picture you upload, make sure it's just a professional picture. In your profile settings is where you can change the theme if you want to change the wallpaper or the size of the text, the background, the size of the apps. You can do all that here. Your app passwords, this is important. Like Talisha was saying, when you, if you decide to update your password in Eduphoria, since Eduphoria is not a network login that we use, we create our own password for those. You would need to then go into your ClassLink password locker and update your Eduphoria password in order to make it single sign-on again. Because it will not automatically change your password in your password locker in ClassLink. So you have to do that manually. So what you would do is you could either search for the app that you need to update. There's Eduphoria. And to edit your password, you would just click on the little pencil here. And we have to click on the pencil again. It's going to give us your login credentials here. So this password is going to be the previous password that you saved when you logged into Eduphoria. So now you would just click in this box, update, change it to the new password, and click save. That way, anytime you click on Eduphoria inside of ClassLink, it'll automatically sign you in using that new password. Okay, so let's go back. And again, that is for any app that you use. If you update any of your passwords, you would want to go in and change those here. So let's look for auto launch. This is something that you can use if you've got certain apps that you use every single day. And you can set up to 5 apps to auto launch, meaning as soon as you log into ClassLink in the morning, those apps that you set to auto launch will automatically open in a new tab for you. In the Sign In tab, if you have not already connected your Google account, you'll want to go ahead and do that now. As you can see, I have the red line through mine. That means that it is already connected. So if I were to click here, I could unlink my Google account. I'll do that so I can show you everything to do. And once you link your Google account, that gives you the option when you're signing into ClassLink, instead of having to type in your username and password, and that code Ennis, you could just click sign in with Google and it would sign you in that way. But in order for that to work, you would have to connect your Google account first. And it's very simple. Our students can do this as well, so that they can just click sign in with Google on their Chromebooks. So to link your Google account, you're going to click on the little blue link. You're going to choose the Google account that you're going to use, which obviously will be your Ennis ISD Google account. Once I click on the Google account that I want to link, you'll see now that it is connected because I now have the red unlink button if I wanted to unlink. It also shows that your LDAP or Active Directory is already connected for you. This means that if you have files on your H drive on your desktop, you will also be able to access them through ClassLink as well. The next thing we need to look at is the Recovery tab. This is very important. We ran into this last year. It came in very handy whenever we were remote and we were on campus. As you know, each year at the beginning of the year, we have a district-wide password reset for our network passwords. And you must be at a desktop to get that updated, unless you have set up your recovery method here in ClassLink. This will allow you to have different password recovery so that you could reset your password from a device other than a district desktop. So as you can see, I've enabled the security questions option. You can configure or use any combination of these options. One thing to keep in mind is if you choose the email option, you may want to use an email other than your district email, because if you aren't able to get into a district device or into your district account, you may not be able to recover your password through an email. So if you use email, make sure you either use a personal email address or also have some of these other options selected. So I just have the security questions here. You could also use a mobile phone to where it would send you a text with a code to recover. Once you have at least one of these options enabled, you'll then see the reset password option here. Okay. So that is your ClassLink profile update. Now let's go ahead and take a look at updating your YouTube playlist.
All right. I'm share my screen again. Okay, so one thing that we need to say is every single year you need to update or resubmit your YouTube playlist for approval. Those are cleared out during the summer every year. And so if you created your playlist last year, you can use that same playlist, but you must resubmit it again this year. So every August, beginning of the year, you need to do that. All right, so I'm going to go through those steps. So I searched for Bill Nye the Science Guy, and I want this Bill Nye the Science Guy video. I'm going to click on it to make sure this is what I want. And so keep in mind that student Chromebooks or student filters are set up to where it's going to block most anything from YouTube. So you cannot just go into the share button and give them this link to a YouTube video. We have to add it to a playlist. So to do that, most videos will have a save button. I'm going to click save. And if you can use the same playlist all year long and add it to it, or you can create a new one. Let's see. Create my title. Make sure you remember the title. I'm going to change the privacy to unlisted and create. So that one is now added to my playlist. So you can go through, use the same playlist all year long, keep adding videos. Once you've submitted it for approval once, that's all you have to do. And I'll show you that process in just a second. But sometimes when you go through and you look for videos, let's say I want this Jack Hartman video. And I go to it, and that save button to get it to my playlist is not there. And the reason that is because it was turned off. When I click save, you can see it pops up at the bottom. This was something made for kids, and so the save button is off, but you can still add it to a playlist. I'm just going to back up and go back to my search list. So this is the video that I had, or that I wanted. I'm going to go all the way over to the side and click on those three dots. And here you get the option to add it to your playlist. So I'm going to add it to Wolf's playlist. All right, so pretty easy creating your playlist, add your videos to it. And now we need to go to our playlist. So I find my playlist that I just created. Let me refresh my page. There it is. Okay. So I actually have to open up my playlist. So I know this is my playlist because there's the title that I created, and these are the two videos that I added. From here, I have to submit the URL of this playlist in Edgeforia so that Mr. Short can approve it for us. You click the share button. We are going to copy this URL. I want you to notice something. When you share your playlist or copy your playlist link, you're going to see the word playlist there. So that way I know this is part of my playlist. All right. I'm going to jump out of here and go into Edgeforia. Oh, this is where I left off earlier. Oh, one moment. Keep me logged in. Sorry, y'all. Give me just a second, logging back into ClassLink to get to Edgeforia. Notice I've linked my Google account, so I just click sign in with Google to get into ClassLink. Okay, so now I'm on the landing page for Eduphoria, and I'm going to click on Help Desk. If you have any technology needs, this is where you're going to go to create your tickets. At the very bottom, I'm going to click Create New Request, and I want technology. In order to get your playlist approved, you're going to go to Digital Learning Resources, and you will find YouTube playlist. You fill in your campus, your room number, and your classroom extension. You add all of that in, and then in the body of your ticket, you are going to paste your YouTube list. And I clicked on Control V to paste my list there. And again, you'll see that word playlist so that you know that this is your playlist that you're getting approved. And then all you have to do is click Submit Request. And your YouTube playlist will be sent to Mr. Short to get it approved. The next thing we need to do is talk about what do I do to get a video in, let's say, Canvas. I want to show this Bill Nye the Science Guy video. Let me go back one more second. So you want to make sure again that you are in your playlist. So click on my Wolf's playlist on the side, and I'm going to access one of my videos, the Bill Nye. And again, I know I'm in my playlist because it says Wolf's playlist on the right-hand side. And from here, this is where we have, I think, where a lot of the errors come in and why videos are still being blocked. You cannot click the share button here. You have to go up to the top and copy and paste the URL from the very top because you want to pull it actually from your playlist. So a really quick, easy way to get a YouTube playlist get a video in your Canvas course is first to add it to a Google slideshow. So I have one opened already, and I named it YouTube Playlist. I'm going to insert my video. And I've copied that URL from my playlist and select my video, and it'll insert it right into a Google slide. And then you can manipulate it. If you wanted to add text to this slide, whatever you wanted to do, you can do that. So I'm just going to leave it as that. And again, I've already named it. So that's going to be the name that I look for in just a minute. To add it to my Canvas course, I've already put my video in here. So that's all I have to do as far as that goes. I'm going to go to my Canvas course. And I'm in my modules. I've created my week 1 module. And it's very, very important that you make sure, and it's good for students to have the current module at the very top so that they know exactly what is needed for this week. So I have week 1 module at the very top, and I'm going to add some content to it. So plus, you can make it a page, you can make it an assignment. Let's say I want to create an assignment, and for today, I'm just going to type in YouTube playlist. You can name it whatever you'd like to name it. So my assignment shell is created. Now I need to add my content. I'm clicking on the title and click edit. All right. So I have my rich content editor in the center, and this is where I'm going to add my video. Let's make my area just a little bit bigger. You can type in directions, whatever you wanted to add into here. But let's add in, I want to embed that Google slide. So we're going to click the plug and go to Google Drive. let me go back. I've used Google Drive on mine already, so that's why it came up like in my recent list. But you could go to View All. If you've not used that before, you'll have the whole list, and then you would click on Google Drive from there. You will have to select, make sure that this is the file or the Google account that you're going to use. We're going to pull it from my drive. Let's see if it pops up in my recent. So there is my video. I'm going to add. And it's just letting me know that they're going to change my sharing settings. And there is my video. To finish out, I'm going to go through if this was something that I wanted my students to turn into me, like maybe I have a discussion or they had to list 3 facts that they learned from the video, something. You could go down to the bottom, I can change my points value. My submission type can be online. Let's see. I'll do a text or media recording or file upload. You can change the attempts. If you only want to assign it to certain people in your groups, you could do that. Let's do a due date for Friday. Done. And we're going to click save and publish. Okay, now I know that seems like a lot of steps to get your YouTube video in there, but once you create and get your YouTube video, your YouTube playlist approved, then that's done for the year. You can keep using that. If you want to do multiple playlists for different subjects, you do have to get each one of those playlists approved. But once you've done that, you keep using those same playlists. And again, make sure, the biggest thing is to make sure whenever you share your link to with your students is that you go to YouTube and you're in your playlist and you're sharing this URL at the very, very top. That is your biggest tip on making sure your student videos are not blocked. So that is creating a YouTube playlist and sharing it with your students.
Awesome.
So Lindsay has us up next with, what is our next topic?
The new app approval process.
Yes, app approval.
All right. So this school year, we are implementing a new EISD app approval process. Put that on here. And if you were part of one of our tech talks earlier, Tuesday tech talks earlier this summer, we did go over this new app approval process and kind of talked about it a little bit and what the purpose was. If you weren't able to join us or haven't been able to see that video yet, the recording, we are using what we're calling an app approval process, not necessarily just for like apps, like Google Apps or things, but just pretty much any type of application, whether that is a new website you want to use or a program, something that is not purchased by the district, even if it is free, would have to be sent in for an app approval. So a good rule of thumb is if it's not already in your ClassLink dashboard, like it has not been pushed out by the district, then it would need to be sent in for approval. So we do have a process in doing that. So we're going to go over that today. The reason we are using an app approval process this year, mainly it's for student privacy and actually staff privacy as well. Anytime that you create an account using an online application, whether it is a free or a paid version, each of those companies has their own rule or own guidelines on what all they share. What out of your information do they share with other vendors, other companies? So we need to make sure that we look into their privacy policies very carefully and check to see what all information they're sharing and make sure that it is FERPA and COPA compliant. So in order to do that, we ask that anytime you use a free program or application, or if you're interested in purchasing one for your class or your campus, we ask that you check first our approved app or website list, and then we'll follow this process. So let's take a look at what process you would follow to get an app approved. Okay, so the first thing that you would want to do is I've linked here the EISD approved apps website list. So on this list, let me open it for you real quick. You'll see any application that is already approved to use in the district. So we've listed all of our district purchase programs. Since we are purchasing this through the district, they have signed a privacy agreement with us, and they only share the information that we tell them they are allowed to share. As you scroll down, you can see all of their different programs that you have in your ClassLink dashboard. If you want to check out their privacy policy, you can go to their website. We've also included the URL for each of these programs. We've looked at what's called a Common Sense Media Rating. This is through Common Sense Education, and it's a free program that you can use as an educator. And almost all of the digital programs out there have been evaluated if they've been around for a little while, and those brand new ones, it may take a little bit for them to come through, but they have professional people that will go in and look at each of these companies' privacy policies and evaluate them to make sure that they are safe to use in your classroom. And then we've also added the link to the privacy policy here for you if you wanted to go in and review it. And then we have also given, if there are any comments as to like how you access the program or how it can be used, those comments are here in this last column. So notice, like for vocabulary, it is a district purchase program, but it is only approved to use as a Canvas assignment. We don't want students to just click on vocabulary and have free reign to go watch any of the videos. The videos that you use must be used through a Canvas assignment so that we can narrow down or lock down vocabulary access. So those will be the ones that are already approved. So if the program or app that you want to use is already listed here as approved, then you do not have to submit a ticket for approval. That means you can go ahead and start using this immediately in your class. We will also have an approved apps and extensions and add-ons list as we get going through the school year. If we come across a request for an application and it has to be denied due to the privacy policy not meeting our standards, those programs will be listed in the denied tab as well. So that is the first step in the process. And you want to go in, make sure that the app isn't already approved. So if it's already approved, you don't have to go through the process. It's done, it's ready to use. If you do not see the program or application that you want to use, you would then need to start the app approval process. Let's go in. There we go. Okay, so that first step is to check that approved list. If the app or website is on the approved list, it's okay to go ahead and use that. If it is on the blocked or denied list, then you don't need to go ahead. You don't need to send in a request to have it approved. It means someone has already done that, or we've already researched it and it is already denied. So it will not be approved, even if you send in a new ticket for that. If the app or website is not on that list, then that means that a help desk ticket would need to be submitted in Eduphoria for approval before you can use this application. So remember, this is even those free apps. If you're using like a Spelling City or I just went blank. I can't think of any of the other free programs we've used in the past, but any of those free programs, we have to make sure, even though they may be an excellent resource, we have to make sure that their privacy policy meets our standards and that they're not sharing private student information with other companies. Okay, so then once you have, if your app that you send in through that help ticket, if it gets approved, then we will notify you that the app has been approved and that you may go ahead and start using it with your class. And we will also add that app or application to the district list so that other teachers or other staff members can see that it is approved for use. We will also notify you if the app happens to be denied. If we are not able to use the application due to a privacy issue, we'll let you know. We'll let you know why it doesn't meet our standards so that you kind of have an idea of what we're looking for in those privacy policies. And then once it is blocked, it is no longer able to use it with your students. So it is restricted and cannot be used. If you want to see some of the Common Sense Media ratings before you even ask for an app to be approved, you can go ahead and click on this link down at the bottom called Common Sense Education. And then in this search box, you can search any application that you're wanting to submit and see if they've already have a privacy rating on those. It's going to tell you the learning rating, meaning the application itself, how the community rates it, and then their privacy rating. and if they passed or failed, or if they, if there's a warning that you need to watch for, as well as the suggested grade levels that could use that. So that is our new EISD app approval process. And so like we said, this would be for any program that you want to use that is not already purchased by the district or provided by the district. So anytime, if you want us to add something to a ClassLink dashboard so that your students can access it, it would need to go through this approval process. Even if you're not creating student accounts, we need to make sure that they are secure sites or programs for you to use in the classroom. Okay, so that is our EISD app approval process. Now we're going to switch gears and look at Google and Gmail updates for the new school year.
All right. Okay, let me share my screen once again. Okay, we did do a Tuesday tech session on cleaning up your Gmail and your Google Drive. So if you want to know a little more details about that sort of thing, you definitely can access our video from that. But I'm just going to show you a couple of things that you can do now, especially with the beginning of the year, and if you're new or have changed positions. First things first, let's look at our profile. So there's two ways to update there's probably more than two, but I'm going to show you two ways to update your profile picture. So I'm in my Gmail, and over on the far right, you see the Ennis ISD logo, and I'm going to click on my picture. To change my profile picture, click on the camera, and let's see, I'm going to update it to this one, and it will change my profile picture. And again, make sure, now Lindsay mentioned this earlier, but anytime you use a picture for any of your profile, for a profile picture on any of the applications, make sure it is professional and school appropriate, because this is sometimes the only picture that your parents may see of you. So there is one way to update that. Another way is while you're in your Gmail, click on the settings gear icon. I'm going to click on see all settings and scroll down, and my picture pops up. And if you click on about me, I can change my picture here. And I'm going to just change it back to the other one. And that's saved for you. The other thing that is very important for you to update each year is your signature. Again, especially if you're new or you have changed positions. So I have my signature. Well, this is my signature. If I want to just update this one, I could go in, I can delete. I could add an image. I could change the color. Let's make it a little bit bigger. And I want to change the font and the color. So all of those things you could do. You could even create a new one. Let's say I want a second one on there, and I'm going to name this one So here, I want to add an image of my business card. I just thought that'd be fun. I'm going to upload. This is coming from my desktop. Let's see. If I could find my picture. Goodness, it's not working for me today. Well, I'll just pick something. Let's say this was my business card, or whatever image I wanted it to be. And it's going to put that image in your signature, and you can change your size. You could add text above it, below it. And then what's really neat is notice this right here, signature defaults. For new use emails, let's say I want my business card. So any new emails that I create, I want the business card to pop up. On my replies or forwards, if I do not want a signature on any of those, I can. or I can just leave it my generic signature with just my name, or you could use it for both. Let's say I do not want this business card. I can delete it. No, it's super simple to update your signature. Let's see. Let me go back in. I'm going to add Ennis ISD back. Once you do that, you go to the very bottom and click Save Your Changes. You can add a GIF in there as well if you create something with Canva or something like that. I've seen some super cute GIFs added to lots of email signatures. Just you want to make sure that it's maybe your name, how you reach, maybe by your extension on your phone, or things like that. But make sure that you do update your email signature if you have one. If you don't have one, create one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Right. So again, if you want more details on how to clean up your inbox and add different labels, make sure you check out our video we have in our digital learning website on one of our Tech Tuesday sessions that we did earlier on. So now I'm going to give it to Lindsay to talk about Canvas.
Awesome. All right. So we're going to first take a look at the this school year's Canvas guidelines. Not much of it has changed compared to what we had in the spring of 2021. But let's kind of review what those guidelines were this past school year as a little refresher. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to look at, and actually I'm going to go out of order just a little bit, and let's look at your Canvas profile. Since we're talking about profile updates today, let's go ahead and make sure your Canvas profile is up to date. So when you log in to Canvas, you're going to land on your Canvas dashboard. So to get to your profile, you're going to click on the account icon here on the navigation menu. And as you can see, I have a profile picture already added. You may just have the little circle with the ghost image if you've not uploaded an image for your profile. So go ahead and click on account. From here, we're going to start on profile. So now I am on my Canvas profile. And if I wanted to change this image, or if I needed to upload a picture, I would click on this little pencil here. And just like anything else, you can either drag and drop a picture. You can upload one from your computer. You can actually take a picture directly in Canvas here. You have to allow your camera. So if I wanted to, just immediately change my profile picture, I could do that here and just click take picture and save, and it would change my profile picture. And we don't really use the graphics cards, but you have that option as well. So I'll actually go ahead and it's probably going to turn out horrible because it always does when I do it live. But let's just show you how easy it is. Remember, I just clicked that little pencil, and I'm going to click take a picture and take a picture.
Oh, that's a good picture.
There we go. Always am looking the wrong direction, but that's okay. So then I could just click save, and you'll see it immediately saves my image. And now I have a profile picture. So super easy. If you would like to add in a quick little bio for your students to see when they log into your course, you could do that by clicking the three dots, edit profile, and then type in your, a short little biography about yourself so your students can get to know you. If you have different, like if you have like a Twitter account that you use for your classroom, you could link that here as well. And then just click Save Profile. And anything that you edited would be shown here for you. Okay, now while we're in our account settings in Canvas, let's review where you would find your notification settings. So these would be your settings for your courses that you are either participating in as a student, in any of our training courses, or your courses that you're a teacher of, as well as if you are a parent to a student in the district and you've registered or linked your account to be an observer of that student, then you can also set your notifications here as an observer as well. One neat function that they've added this year is If you are a parent and you are listed as an observer of your students or your children in the district, you could actually select or enable this option to show the name of the observed student in the notification. So if your daughter has an upcoming due date for an assignment, if you elected to get that notification, it would include their name in the notification for you. So you don't have to actually dig and see which child it belongs to.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I like that feature a lot. Actually, I'm gonna leave mine on. Okay, and then as I said, this is also something that you'd want to check for your own as a teacher of your courses. So if you want to be alerted anytime you create your own announcement, once it goes to your course, you could select that here. Notice you can either receive a notification via email or through a push notification. Notice they did take off the text option this year. So you would not be able to be alerted via text, but if you download the Canvas app on your phone, then you would get that push notification just like you do for your other apps. And once you have your courses published and students are submitting assignments or submitting work, then you would also be able to select if you would like to be notified anytime someone joins your course, or if you've got a student that signed up for an appointment that you set up, you could create all of those notifications here. Another important feature that you need to know is we had lots of teachers that were sharing content in Canvas last year, which is awesome. No need for each teacher on a team to create content whenever we can all share. So to find those files that teachers on your team have shared with you, you would go to your account settings here and then click Files. Actually, these are the files that you're going to upload. I'm sorry. We'll get to the shared ones in just a second. So these are all of the files in all of your courses in your entire Canvas account. So if you wanted to pull a specific file, you could do that here. And you could also upload specific files to, choose whichever course you want to upload it to and click Upload as well. But now let's look at the shared content. Again, this would be that those files that other teachers on your campus or in your department have shared with you. So what you would do is if you have items shared with you, you would click on the 3 dots. You can preview the item, or you could go ahead and import it directly into a course. If I click Import, if you just click this drop-down arrow, you're going to have every course that you have available to you that you're going to have to scroll through. What we suggest doing when you're ready to import things into a course, or when you're looking to find a specific course, is to actually go into the course. Go into a course real quick. Once you are inside your Canvas course that you want to import items to, if you look at the URL, you're going to see after courses in the URL here, there's this number. If you highlight that number and copy it, this is your course ID number. So this is a foolproof way of making sure you are in the correct course. Since most of your courses are created through Skyward, each year they're named the same thing, just with the new year. So those of you that have been in the district for a while, you're going to have several years worth of courses, and if you taught the same content, most of your courses are going to have the exact same title. So it's going to take you a while to scroll through and find that specific course if you go by title of course. So the easiest way to do it is to highlight or to copy that course code right here, and then go back. Now, if I paste that code, notice it only brings up that specific course. So I don't have to scroll through a long list of courses and hope that I choose the correct course to import my content to. Once you have found the course you want to import the file to, you would just click Import here. Easy enough. In your settings, this is where you could update your contact information if you have multiple ways that you would like students or parents to be able to contact you. It's going to default to your district email address here. If you would like to add a different email address, you could. We don't suggest that, but if you have some reason to need a different email address, you could add that here. Or if you have other contact information or ways to contact you, you could add that contact method as well. Okay, so that is your Canvas profile. We've talked about your profile picture, we talked about your account settings, notification settings, and how to access shared content and files. So now let's go into our Canvas expectations, or guidelines, I should say, for this school year. And the first thing we're going to look at is your landing page, your homepage of your Canvas course. Just like last year, all teachers in all content areas will need to have a Canvas course published. In that Canvas course, you need to have a homepage designated. So once you have designated which page will be your homepage, you need to make sure that your homepage includes a brief teacher introduction. Remember, for a lot of your students, this may be their very first time to ever see a picture of you, or you can add a video, audio, something for them to see you and kind of get to know you a little bit before school starts. Tell them a little bit about yourself, kind of like a meet the teacher type thing. Nothing too extensive. You're also going to make sure you have some form of a course or class description, and that includes your teacher contact information. Remember, even for our younger students, this is also a place where your parents may be looking to find out how to contact you with questions or concerns. So you're going to include that on your homepage. You're also going to want to make sure, even though we're not starting virtual this year, you need to make sure that your students know how to find your content in your course. So on your homepage, you need to have some form of instructions for students or parents on where to click, where to go to find all of the content that they need for your course. So this could be in the form of text. So maybe you just have a text box that kind of tells them, okay, each week you're going to click on modules, and your most recent module will be at the top. However you want to arrange that, just so that your students and parents know exactly where to go, where to click to navigate your course. You could also do a quick video. Remember, you can record directly inside your Canvas course and kind of point to the different things on your dashboard of where they need to click. Or you can also just record audio. So they could click a button and it could tell them exactly what steps to follow and where to go to find their weekly assignments or class content. Okay, so that is your class or your course homepage. Nothing on that has changed since last year. The next thing we're going to talk about is your navigation menu. So this is inside your course. Remember, in Canvas, I'm going to click on one of my courses. In Canvas, there are certain things that are added at the district level or at the account level that may not apply to your students or to your class. So you're going to want to make sure that the only things that you have showing in your navigation menu here are things that your students actually need access to. Because this can get very confusing very quickly, especially for our younger students when they see all of these options. It could also be very distracting for even our older students, because now if they see these, they're going to want to click on them and see what those buttons do, where it takes them. So what you'll want to do inside your course is click on Settings in your navigation menu. And then notice you'll have all these tabs at the top. And we want to click on Navigation. Now, any items that I do not want my students to see, all that I have to do is click and hold and then drag that item down to under where it says drag items here to hide them from students. Once I do that and click Save, my students, even though as the teacher I can still see it over on the side, my students would no longer see that item. So I would probably want Schedule to stay there. But if I'm not going to use Discovery Education the first day of school or right away, I could hide that for now. So I'm going to drag it down. I'm not going to use badges right away, so I'm going to hide that, as well as item banks. One important thing that you do want to hide right away is this chat feature. If you do not want your students to be able to chat with each other within a course, with or without you present, you'll want to hide that before students even access your course, because once they are able to click on that one time, it's then going to show up in their recent history and they could access it through that link. So we want to make sure that we hide that chat feature right away. Okay, so now I've hidden any item that I don't think I'm going to use right away. Remember, as the year progresses, if you decide, let's say you want to start using Discovery Education, all that you have to do to make it accessible for your students is drag it above that line, oops, and click Save again, and then now they can see it. So just because we're hiding it now does not mean it's going to stay hidden forever if you decide to use it later in the school year. So now I'm going to click Save. So I have chosen to only have home, schedule, and modules showing for my students. So now when they click on the course, they're not going to have all of these options listed here. They're only going to see home, schedule, and modules. Okay, so that's our course navigation. Okay, one thing that we're also using as a Canvas guideline this year is that all courses must use modules to organize their course content. This is important because it really helps. It's almost like file folders for your class or your course on Canvas. Courses can get very disorganized very quickly, especially by the time we get to the spring semester. And students are having to search through pages and pages or assignments or quizzes instead of just being able to click on a group of assignments or lessons for that week. So we're going to make sure that we're using modules in our courses. So once I go to modules, notice how nice and neat that looks. I probably should have picked a different course because this course doesn't have a whole lot of content in it. But I would want to make sure that as the year progresses, whatever module my students need to access for that week or day or however you have yours organized, you have to make sure that those are located at the top of your list of modules. Let me see if I can go in and find a different course that maybe has a little bit more. We'll go here. Okay, so this is our course from last year. And by the way, Talisha has been working to update any of these presentations we did last year and make sure they still match Canvas or any updates that Canvas has provided for this school year. So we still have this course available if you need to go back and get a quick little refresher on some of the different features of Canvas. But notice I've got all of these modules. And if my students needed to be working in module 10, notice I have to scroll all the way down. Now that's just 10 modules. If we're thinking of, by the time we get to April and each week we have a new module, that's a lot of modules to have in that list for your students to have to scroll through to find. So the most current module, you'll want to make sure that you click that module. Notice when I click on these little dots here on the left side, all I have to do is then hold it and drag it to wherever I want it. So if I want to move it to the top, I can do it that way. Or I can click on the three dots next to the title of the module and click Move Module. And it defaults to at the top. So I can just keep it at the top. And if I click Move, maybe, there it goes. Notice it moved Module 10 to the very top of that list. So now my students no longer have to scroll to find their assignments or activities. Now, so just in case y'all go and check these, I'm going to move that back down. Now I want it at the bottom. Move. And there we go. Now it's back. Okay, so that's the importance of modules. Again, all courses need to utilize these modules for their organization of their course. Once you create your module, everything that you need to create, whether it's an assignment or a page or even just a link that you want to share with your students, can be done inside that module by clicking that plus sign. So you'll just choose what you want to add to the module here. Okay, so that is modules. Assignments this year. We don't have any specific guidelines or expectations for what type of assignments you create in Canvas. But we do want you to be aware that this year we're going to be using something called grading terms in Canvas. If you remember last year, our grading terms weren't set up. And so when you went into your gradebook, let's say the second 9 weeks, you still saw all of your first 9 weeks grades as well as now starting your second 9 weeks until you filtered it. This year, we're going to be able to use grading terms, which means each 9 weeks, only that 9 weeks grades will show up in your Canvas gradebook. So it'll make it a little bit easier for you as well as students to check grades or enter grades in Canvas if you choose. In order for that to work correctly, all assignments that you create must have a due date. If an assignment that you create does not, if you don't add a due date to it, it's going to automatically add it to the very last term, which means if you create an assignment in the first 9 weeks and you don't list the due date, it's not going to put it in your gradebook in Canvas until that fourth 9 weeks. So that can be very confusing. So make sure you add a due date. And then just a quick reminder, if you choose to use the Google Assignments submission type, that external tool, it automatically creates a copy for your students of that assignment. So you don't have to send them a copy or tell them to make a copy of a Google slide or a Google Doc. It's going to do that for them. It's also going to automatically update the sharing settings, not only for your assignment file, but also on when the students submit that back to you so that you can actually open it and read it. So that's just a quick little reminder on Google Assignments and how awesome they are. We've already looked at your profile in Canvas. The course content, this is something that we used last year or in the spring semester for our minimal requirements in Canvas. Remember, Canvas or your Chromebook should be used every single day in your classroom to some extent, not to exceed 25% of class time. So, we're not using Google Classroom. Canvas is our LMS. So Google Classroom is not something that we're allowed to use with our students. When it comes to course content, all of our secondary courses should have a syllabus listed inside their Canvas course. Secondary is also to use Canvas as their bell ringers. I know many of you used those last year and they seem to work out really well. You can have your instructional content. So that, this would be something if you're using it in your, reading, guided reading rotations or guided math, you could have some instructional content here or, like a YouTube video you want to share from your playlist, as well as activities that address your current content and or graded assignments if you so choose. And then you would also want to post your weekly newsletter and use Canvas for all of your parent-teacher communication. So remember, those parents can sign up to be an observer of their student, and any announcement or anything you add to the calendar, those parents would then be notified through their Canvas parent app. So we need to make sure that we are also, if we use Remind 101 or something like that, that Canvas is our #1 parent communication tool. That way it's uniform across the district. For those of us who have multiple kids at different campuses, it can be very confusing on parents to remember which app or which program this child is using, or what, if the teacher, say your child is in junior high and they have 7 different teachers, to remember which teacher is using which app for communication, whether it's Remind or Class Dojo, that gets very confusing for parents. So we need to make sure we have a streamlined across the district form of parent communication, and that will be through Canvas. All right. I think I just flew through those Canvas guidelines. If you have any questions, our very first newsletter for this school year is going to have some different Canvas updates, and we'll dig a little bit deeper into what these guidelines look like, some examples, some templates that we may have that are available for you to use in your Canvas courses, and just quick little reminders, like make sure you've published your modules and your assignments, and most importantly, make sure you publish your course so that your students can see those Before we wrap up, one other quick reminder is any program that we use in the district. So let's say Canvas or Renaissance, Dreambox, Lexia, any of those programs, those are, sorry, I'm distracting myself. Let me take my screen off. Those programs are auto-rostered through Skyward. So if you get a new student in your class, it's going to take at least 24 hours before that student shows up in any of our programs. We can't go in and manually add those students or create accounts for them because then it will mess up with their actual Skyward account that gets created within a day or two. So just be patient. They try to get all of their information finalized as quickly as possible. And then once it is, it will automatically show up in your program. So whether that is Canvas or ClassLink, all of those that are auto-rostered.
And secondary, that goes the same for you if there's a schedule change.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah. You have a student that changed to a different class time during the day, give it 24 hours before they show up in your Skyward, in your Canvas or other programs.
For sure. Now, if you haven't seen that student show up within 2 to 3 days, then absolutely put in a ticket and we'll have to look into it just to make sure there's not any snags anywhere. But there's nothing we can do to make it go faster. It all comes through Skyward. Okay, so to wrap up today, like we said, we're so glad to have you all back. We hope you have a fantastic school year. We will be sending out our, we try to do a bi-weekly newsletter. So please make sure that newsletter will show up in your Google email inbox. So please try to take a look at that if you can. We try to add in frequently asked questions or things like updates that come up throughout the school year. We try to make it as brief as possible and something that it could apply to all grade levels. So please check out those newsletters this year. We also have a digital learning website this year. So let me go ahead and add that back in. So on our website, we'll continue to build this website throughout the year, but we have staff resources added already from this summer. So once you're on our website, you will click on the little drop down next to staff resources. Here you can find our digital learning and professional development. Click on that. So this is going to show you all of our Tech Tuesdays that we did. You'll have a link to our digital learning YouTube channel. This is where we upload all of our training videos, so you can access those directly there. You can also find our PD library. This will have any resource, any presentation that we've created, as well as if there's a video recording for that training, those will be in this PD library. You can also access the EISD app approval process and that website or app list on our website as well. So please make sure you check out our digital learning website this year, as well as our newsletters that we'll start sending out that first full week of school in August. So we hope that you have enjoyed your summer and are ready to get started. If you have any questions when you're going in and making these updates to your profiles, please let us know, put it in a ticket, or send us an email. We hope to see you all soon. Bye.
Bye.